Hey guys, it's Mike here, and welcome to my power scaling series in which I'm going to be going through the entire Cell Saga of Dragon Ball Z from start to finish. If you guys are interested, if you're new here, make sure to subscribe and enable all notifications, as well as hitting like and hyping this video up so that you'll be able to see every single one of these videos in this series right away when they come out. And in case that you missed some of the series along the way, make sure to check the end screen of this video when it's over so that you'll be able to in turn go to that playlist and see everything else leading up to this. Now, before we begin, I also wanted to tell you about my book series, The Children of Aman, beginning with the first book, Nemesis of the Absence, a story of thieves who band together in the name of vengeance, using the fundamental forces of creation wielded by the main character, Seraph, a speaker. And you get to see a lot of things such as action, adventure, fight scenes, romance, cool powers, and that much more along the way. So if you're interested, make sure to go down below in the description and get your own copy, physical or digital, today. But with that being said, let's get directly into scaling the Cell Saga. Now, at this point in time, we actually get power estimates. Nobody can sense their energy because they're able to just kind of like walk around in their normal form. With Super Saiyan as their normal form. They're not wasting any more stamina at all. That's why they stay in the form the whole time. I think in the manga version, there is a very slight difference with the anime, where in the manga, if I remember correctly, they do actually mention that they do not stay in the form when they're sleeping. I think that Gohan might mention that to Dende, but in the anime, of course, we see the scene, the infamous scene, where Krillin throws a rock at Goku's head and hurts him. That wouldn't happen in Toriyama's manga. But either way, we see that Goku has Korin measure his power comparative to Cell's. Even though Cell has been holding back the entire time and Korin doesn't know for a fact how strong Cell is, Goku wants to know if Korin can tell him if Goku stands any chance. And so he goes and powers up. At this point, his power, about half his full power, is already stronger than Vegeta and Trunks and Piccolo, everybody there. This shows that Goku and Gohan together got a huge boost because they're already weaker than Piccolo and Vegeta when they went into the chamber. Gohan didn't even have Super Saiyan yet. And by the end, they have mastered Super Saiyan. They have increased their, now it's grade 4, as they call full power Super Saiyan. And not just that, but they've additionally made it to where they are stronger in their base form, which I'm going to get into soon than everybody else. So the Super Saiyans at least. But despite that being half his power, Korin says Cell is still stronger. He says a bit, but to be honest, it's way more than a bit as far as I'm concerned when we get to the fight. And I'm going to use that because I could just throw out the estimates here and there, but I think it's better to show you, which is what I do typically in these videos, because I think that all the context is the most important. Otherwise, I wouldn't be talking for hours about the Cell Saga again, right? But either way, Goku is fine because he knows that Gohan is already stronger. So this is where a lot of people start to completely just misunderstand a lot of this stuff right here. Now, let's get into a couple of things here. A lot of people think that Vegeta's base form is stronger than Goku and Gohan's, and that Goku and Gohan are actually only stronger than Vegeta because the fact that they have a higher grade of Super Saiyan, and that normally without that higher grade of Super Saiyan, they would be individually weaker than him because he's strong, he trained harder and blah, 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 blah. That's wrong. As Arnold Schwarzenegger would say, since I'm referencing him so often, the arc that references him constantly, bullshit. It's bullshit. Because no, Goku and Gohan's base form is stronger than Vegeta and Trunks by a significant margin. As a matter of fact, I'm going to say something else from my own perspective of the power scale that I think also will make a lot of people disagree. Full power grade 4 Super Saiyan is not stronger than the initial grade 1 Super Saiyan. And as a matter of fact, it is the exact same multiplier. If anything, it's a lower multiplier because they go lower constantly through suppression than the other forms do. I mean, just look at this. Do you think that, for example, when we look later on, we see Goku and Gohan, everybody chilling and having a picnic and stuff like that, and having fun, that they are going to be stronger in this form that they're hanging around in, that grade 2 and grade 3 with their gigantic muscles are? Do you think that Vegeta and Trunks can sit down without blowing up this entire area just by sitting on the floor like World War Hulk, destroying the eastern seaboard with a couple steps, just because, like, you know, their form is a lower multiplier? No, that's nonsense. I think that the reality is that Goku and Gohan have the same power, the same multiplier, if you want to even say that those exist, that the initial Super Saiyan had, and their base form is insanely higher than it was when they went in. And not just that, but additionally, that also their ability to control and keep that energy in their body, as I mentioned before when talking about the other grades, is also itself greater. They do not waste an insane amount of energy when they transform into Super Saiyan anymore. Instead, they reserve all of that for the energy they have on hand when they battle. That's the reason why they can go to such higher levels of power than Vegeta and Trunks can. I mean, look at this right here. They're Super Saiyans, but they seem to stay normal or super even under normal circumstances. And what does Trunks say? But when they fight, will they become stronger? This is actually a bad translation. In fact, Trunks is saying that, so will they get an even stronger form when they fight? Will they have some other bulky thing? Basically, he's thinking the same way he did before because, he's stupid Trunks. But in this case, Vegeta is like, no, you fool, think about it. That if he gets used to this form, when he increases his energy, the strain in his body won't be so heavy. Essentially, they're all saying the same thing. That when these two characters are walking around normally as Super Saiyans when they transform, because they could transform at such a lower level of energy, because they're wasting very significantly less energy, because their mind does not have that restless feeling inside of them anymore that's forcing them to constantly not hold back to the degree that they can, then in turn, because they are normal now, because they're basically just a little bit above their base forms when they're walking around casually, and that's why nobody can sense them, that they do not waste the gigantic 30-50% of their energy that they would output when they explode with their power outward when they first transform into the ability, which thus in turn makes it to where they are stronger than if they had just gone regular Super Saiyan. That is not a higher multiplier. It is conserving more energy, and also they are stronger physically because they train together with Goku and Gohan far more efficiently and far better than Vegeta and Trunks did. Like I said before, a lot of people don't think that Vegeta and Trunks sparred together at all. Maybe they didn't, but even if they did, it doesn't matter because Goku and Gohan got a way better benefit and advantage. That's why over time people have said, oh, well, Goku was held back by Gohan the whole time. If Goku had just gone in with Vegeta or Trunks, he'd be stronger. He'd be able to beat Cell. Again, wrong. Objectively wrong. And we could see why earlier on in the arc when the two of them step into that time chamber together. We see Goku talks about this actually. Gohan says, essentially like, am I going to hold you back at all when you are trained together? And he's like, well, only at first, but after you become a Super Saiyan, you'll help a lot in my training. That's his plan. He wants to overcome the limits of a Super Saiyan, become even stronger than everyone else, but he wants for Gohan to become stronger than him because he knows that Gohan deep down has far more potential and energy inside of him than Goku ever will be able to. That's Gohan's entire character that's been built up since the very first time he was introduced in the story. Goku knew he had the energy. Chi-Chi wouldn't let him train. He's the one who was able to damage Raditz enough to beat him. He's the one who pushed back Frieza's transformations time and time again while Goku needed gigantic Zenkai boosts, blah, 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 blah. He's the one who gets built up to be able to defeat the ultimate character, the ultimate villain that Goku does not stand any chance against because the fact that Goku was not as superior in terms of physicality and energy and everything as Gohan or Cell, only Gohan is able to win. That's the entire point of the arc. So the whole time that they're getting stronger, when Goku has Gohan become a Super Saiyan, he starts pushing Goku far further than anyone else would have been able to when they're sparring, pushing him further and further and further. And the anime actually does a great job of showing this, because in the anime, Gohan goes Super Saiyan Super Saiyan 2 for the very first time in the chamber after he's pushed Goku to the point where Goku's like, oh, let's stop for today. This is too much. And then Goku's like, no, I can keep going. And then he goes Super Saiyan 2 for an instant before he passes out. So that's why Goku knows for a fact that Gohan is already stronger than he is, which he confirms later on when the Cell games actually happens. And additionally, that he can do what Goku could never do. Goku could go back in that chamber and he would fail because he is not strong enough to win, no matter what he does. It took him 7 years of training just to surpass Gohan, because Gohan is that much of a beast when he actually transforms. And I'm not even talking about superhero. Ha 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 ha. Roll on snare drum, but no. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Make sure to stay tuned for the next episode of this power scaling series of the Cell Saga. Also, get your own copy today of my first book, Nemesis of the Absence, the first in the Children of Mon series, because of course, as I always say, stick around, because there's a lot more to come in the future. Trunks. Future Trunks.
And you better subscribe!